Welcome to the Pandemonium Witches podcast, where the ADHD has just a touch of the tism, where the true crime is just as scary as the hauntings and unsolved cases, and the hosts never stay on topic for long. I'm Kat.
I'm Rachel.
I'm Em. And I'm Meg.
We are the Pandemonium.
Oh, good morning.
Oh, good mornings.
So, we're probably going to have a couple of messages for last week's episode on how short it was. But you know what?
Oh, well.
Suck it.
Then kiss my ass.
Listen,
I got as much info as I could, guys.
Right.
I did my best.
A few of our stories, like early on, they're like 40 minutes, 30 minutes. There's one that I think was almost 20 minutes, and we did a double episode on that one, and that was the cryptid episode.
Right.
Where we both did
some of the cryptids were just short because there wasn't a whole lot of stuff.
We do have a note. A note. Yes. A friend of mine is going to go stay at a Mothman bed and breakfast. Miss Sydney from Virginia.
Oh, boy.
So we were saving the Mothman episode for a later episode.
Yes.
Sydney just other Sydney just texted me. Daughter Sydney, not friend Sydney. So she's gonna send me pictures, and I was like, I will for sure be doing an episode just on the Mothman just for you. And she's like, please, I love the Mothman. So I was like, okay, great. Because my friend has not Sydney, not the other Sydney, but my friend out in Washington, the weird one, the one that.
I mean, all your friends are weird.
Listen.
So, I mean, it's not much description.
Seriously. Oh, no.
I say this as a weird friend.
So she has little pins, enamel pins she shares at her food stall out in Washington that says, Mothman, bootylicious, let's clap those cheeks around. And it's got it's a whole thing. Like, everybody loves Mothman and Sasquatch and, Swamp Thing up there. But, so.
You gotta support your local cryptids.
We do have to support our local cryptids. Not the ones here, though. I don't want to support the local cryptids here. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I refuse. I say
Speaking of cryptids, I was trying to go to sleep yesterday, and I'm pretty sure it was a fucking owl that would not shut the fuck up.
No.
Guys, this was at like 1:00 in the afternoon.
Oh my God.
No reason it should have been awake and doing this shit.
Oh, Jesus.
It was so annoying because I was on the verge of sleeping, and it's just like, hoo-hoo, motherfucker.
Hoo-hoo, motherfucker.
I was like, shut up, go away. You have to be right now.
Right. Well, the story we have today is, of course, another murder. But it's pretty bad. It's pretty terrible.
Oh no.
I'm sorry.
No.
This is a Pandemonium Witches podcast trigger warning. The following episode contains graphic violence and gruesome depictions. Listener discretion is advised. Weird witch. So this particular story we're going to talk about has been on episodes for podcasts Abundant Hope, They Will Kill,
Okay.
Once Upon a Crime, True Crime Podcast, and Small Town Dicks at CrimeCon Live. No, Small Town Dicks is the name of the podcast.
I know, I like that.
As well as seen on Snapchat stories and Facebook Reels for a couple of programs. This topic has been posted online several times, but didn't post the whole story to these Reels, which it hooked me.
Rude.
It hooked me for one of the stories because I was like, oh my God, I have to learn more. And just the podcasts and TV shows. So we're going to be talking about yet another boogeyman. A horrible man that plagued the nights and days of many Californian children. So if this is unsettling for you, please go ahead and skip ahead to the end of the podcast, which I have
Can I go ahead and skip ahead?
Yeah, no, sorry. You made me stick around for
fine.
Yeah, no, seriously. So Too Long Didn't Read. Curtis Dean Anderson was an American serial predator and convicted child unaliver whose crimes spanned the mid-'80s until his arrest in early 2000. He was sentenced to over 300 years in prison. We love that. We love that. And died
Still not long enough.
Still not long enough. But he died in custody December 2007 at the age of 46.
Okay.
So born in 1961. I'm going to redo that because the next door neighbor has a muffler to make up for his lack of manhood. Born in 19...
I thought it was your phone vibrating.
No, my phone is to the side and away. Born in 1961, Curtis dropped out of school at 13, and he accumulated a lengthy criminal record involving theft, false imprisonment, and other offenses. His criminal behavior escalated over time, culminating in more severe crimes. So as time went on, it got worse.
Oh, shit.
Which is what we commonly see.
It's supposed to get better, not worse.
Right, and that's not the case. So most of his adult life, he was in and out of prison for various convictions of violent or sexual crimes. And on that note, I will
BRB.
Maybe if I can
find the right button. Hurry up, your timer's running out. She'll listen to that part later and be so confused. But I'm all by myself. I'm alone. There's nobody here beside me. This is weird. I'm by myself. I usually don't mind being by myself. Except for on podcasts. And then I mind being by myself. And she's going to listen to all this and listen to my rambling and laugh. Oh, good, you're back.
What did I miss?
Me rambling. You'll listen to it later.
Oh yeah, of course, and I'll probably end up keeping it in. And you know, what is going on with my headphones?
I don't know.
Something
What did you do to them?
I don't know. I gave birth. No, that's not the right one.
Wrong thing.
So unfortunately, detailed information about Curtis's family is scarce in public records. Nothing about his family background, upbringing, early psychological development, which we've been able to find on other killers.
Right.
There ain't shit.
Of course not.
But I did find a lot of information about his victims.
Oh, good.
But of course, as always, when there are unknown victims and known, we're going to be doing a minute of silence for them.
Right.
Most available information focuses on his crimes and confessions. So we're going to talk about that in 3D Technicolor detail, unfortunately.
I don't want 3D Technicolor detail.
You're going to get it, bitch.
I don't want it.
Tough cookies. So
I don't like this, Grandpa.
That's too damn bad. So child convicted murderer Curtis Dean Anderson enjoyed company on long drives, he stated, out across the desert where he lived and fellow travelers were strange. He liked company, said Chief Paul Clancy, which was a Pinole police chief. If they were willing, that was fine, and if they weren't, he forced them to go with him anyways. 2 of his known victims were children from Vallejo. Authorities have stated that Curtis has killed more than what we're going to talk about today, and might have killed even more than what he's even informed the FBI, because there was a interview that he had with the FBI. That was about 4.5 hours long. Ooh, excuse me. I was able to shorten his interview.
Okay.
So from 4 hours to whatever we talked about today. He claimed to have killed many, many more during a 5.5 hour interview. Excuse me, not 4. It was shortly before he died. Most of the information I got is from a lot of news articles, the True Crime Podcast, a few Instagram reels. What?
She has unplugged herself.
And I had to plug myself back in. I have to fix my headphones and change. You know what? Hold on.
She's having to dig out other headphones.
So I can't hear anything. So if you say anything, I can't hear shit. Because my headphones...
Oh, that's the best time.
The wire popped, and now it won't go back in my headphones.
Oh, no.
So I might have to buy a new set of headphones. If I can't... No. Find one that clips in. Okay, you know what? We're just going to make it work today. I got this one, which they're not too entirely comfortable, but we'll make it work. Okay, hold on. Listen, it wouldn't be a pandemonium episode if...
This is true.
All right. It's a good thing I have some leftover. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Ooh, I don't like this. I sound weird. Hold on. Yeah, no, I'm gonna just keep using this one and just buy a new one. All right, let me just... Sorry, everyone. I apologize. That's probably the word. Maybe? Oh. I am so sorry. I apologize.
My poor eardrums.
I'm so sorry. I will go back and delete that when I'm editing. She, in fact, did not want to delete that part, as it is not a pandemonium episode without the audio going fucked. So I need to get new headphones. Let me see how much they are. So, let's see here.
Could it just be your aux cord?
No, it's the actual headphones itself. So I looked at it. The port is stretched out. So
lame.
I know. No offense. I'm just saying, like, this thing has seen some time, man. But then again, that's also from me trying to get up from the actual chair and walking away with the headphones on, because I've done that a couple of times.
True.
All right. You ready?
Yeah.
You sure?
Not really.
Not
We're
wet.
gonna do this shit anyways.
I know. So, this is a Pandemonium Witches podcast trigger warning. The following episode contains graphic violence and gruesome depictions. Listener discretion is advised. He may have killed at least 6 more victims, stated in the San Jose Mercury News, from all the notes that they received from the FBI. In late 1984, Curtis had told the FBI that he had killed 2 victims who have still not been identified to date, which I do give their descriptions. So if you know of anybody who might know of any information, I'll have the number at the end of the episode. Victim number 1 was described as a female in her late teens, early 20s. Curtis allegedly met and killed her and disposed of her body near a local swimming hole in Marysville, which is in Yuba County, which is way out in the middle of nowhere. She was noted as a quote-unquote runaway. So typically around that time, they didn't know women in certain age brackets to be missing. They were just runaways.
Because nobody bothered to look for them.
100%, yeah. So I was just sitting there going, really? Like, we did these people an injustice.
Oh, 100%.
Victim number 2 was a young female hitchhiker in her late teens. He did state that she was a hitchhiker. He claimed that he picked her up on a road near the northeast side of Clear Lake, which is out in the middle of nowhere, again, a few days after the death of victim number 1. Victim number 3 was a female who was in her late teens. Not early 20s, not mid-20s, late teens. She was also residing in Marysville and was possibly a runaway from Oregon. Curtis claimed to have killed her in early 1985, not long after he had gotten her. He allegedly disposed of victims 2 and 3 near Ballard's Bar Dam, close to Dobbins, California, but her body was never found. They never found traces of her. They never found any identifications of her, just that he had killed her. In November of 1986, he had taken his 4th victim. Victim number 4 was approximately in her early 20s, and she had disappeared from Oakland, California. Those who have not been to Oakland, California, just think about it from like Straight Outta Compton. That movie that talked about like, what was his name? Ice Cube? Ice Cube's early days?
Yes.
So, yes, his Ice Cube's son played the role of Ice Cube. But when I tell you, Oakland is... I almost got mugged in Oakland, down the street from my brother's house. And I was sleeping in my car, doing my laundromat down the street. This guy tried to mug me, started to get in my car, looked at me, looked at my wallet, and goes, "Man, this sucks." Hands me my shit back and goes, "Girl, what you need?" And I was like, "I don't know. Like, I got to figure out food." And he goes, "Hold on, I'll be right back." Comes back like 20 minutes later with some food. And he goes, "Here, girl, you need to eat."
You need this more than I do.
I was like, shit, I tried to get mugged and he pulled an Uno reverse card.
He Robin Hooded your ass.
He did. He straight Robin Hooded my ass, man. And I'm just like, in certain areas of Oakland, it is like you do not live. You know, you just don't go there. So the Museum of Modern Art in Oakland, there's a homeless city encampment behind MoMA. You don't go there. You don't go to the park at night. That's a good way to get died. Get murdered, get unalived,
Get yoinked.
get yoinked. So Oakland is a pretty town. They have some notable like architectural stuff there. I love to visit Oakland. Love to visit Oakland. Love to visit Silicon Valley, or as we call it, Silicon Valley. We love to visit San Francisco. For those who are traveling, it is not called Frisco. It is not called SF. It's called San Francisco. They will know that you are a traveler, and they will try to
Put some
pickpocket
respect on the name.
Seriously. Also, don't get lost on the hill. That happens a lot more often than people think. And your car will lose its brakes. Because you'll just be hitting your brakes the whole time down. It's terrible. You walk down the hill.
Find a good, safe place to park, and then get on your Lambo Fides and walk.
turned towards the curb, not away,
Of
turned
course.
towards. So,
Otherwise, if your brakes give out, you're going to be rolling.
right. So, of course, in Oakland, there are bars that people frequent, especially POC. She was a light-skinned black female who Curtis had met in a bar frequented by POCs in the area of East Bay. And it's off of Interstate 80 underneath the overpass. So on San Pablo Avenue is where the bar was. And he claims he took her about 10 days after he was paroled from San Quentin. San Quentin, 30 minutes from Oakland. Where I lived, it was about an hour from my house. San Quentin is in the middle of nowhere, and there are tons of posters. San Quentin is right on the water, but nobody could survive the water because of how choppy the water is in that area. It's almost like what they did for Alcatraz. But, like, people tried to get out.
Right. Of course they did.
Right. And there's constant signs for San Quentin. Don't pick up hitchhikers. Don't pick up anybody off the road. That kind of stuff. But he says he took the girl 10 days after he was paroled. And he had allegedly killed her and disposed of her body in the Oakland Hills. At that time, they thought victim number 4 was a victim of the Hillside Strangler. Because he would typically kill his victims and leave them in the hillsides.
Right.
So, June 1988, his 5th victim was taken, and her name was Amber Schwartz Garcia. Curtis had stated that Amber was standing on the street in Pinole, California, when he drove up to where she was standing, opened his car door, and physically forced her into the car.
What the fuck?
He confided in an FBI profiler that Amber, who was 7 at the time, did not go willingly. She tried to get out.
Shit.
Right. She tried to get out of the car once or twice, but he relaxed her by giving her root beer schnapps, which he said was, quote, better than duct tape.
So he made her drunk.
Yeah. 7 years old. At 7, you need to be worrying about matching your shoes with your shirt. And what color, at least when I was 7, what color Powerpuff Girl I was. I was Bubbles.
And what kind of snacks you wanted your lunch that day.
Yep. And whether or not you wanted a pudding cup or a Go-Gurt.
Or fruit snacks.
Or fruit snacks, or all 3, you know. You don't need to be worrying whether or not if you're going to get picked up by a boogeyman.
Right.
So, her case is now considered closed with all of these details. We're closing it because we believe Curtis Dean Anderson is the killer of Amber Schwartz, said Police Chief Clancy. Amber's mother, Kim Schwartz, said that she needed evidence before she can have any real closure. Unless we get that piece of information in my heart, that's going to be a hard thing to do. Curtis had told the FBI he wanted company on a road trip to his aunt's house in Arizona. He was familiar with Pinole and spotted Amber in her front yard. She vanished on June 3rd, 1988, last seen skipping rope in front of her home on the 3400 block of Savage Avenue. Her disappearance launched a national search that drew thousands of tips and prayers to the small suburb, which was in Richmond, California. In a case of tragic timing, Amber was standing in front of her house at the exact moment Curtis randomly drove through her neighborhood. He opened the door and pulled her in. Keeping her sedated with root beer schnapps as he drove to Arizona, Curtis murdered Amber in a motel room in Tucson and disposed of her body in an Arizona desert highway off of Highway 10 near Benson. Investigators say his story adds up, and they stated, like Amber's mother, they would like to have some physical evidence to be able to at least state where she is and put her body to rest. We don't have anything of hers. Jump rope, shoes, clothing, a bone, a finger, something. But we have nothing. So for me and the rest of Amber's family, it's sort of the same for us, said her mom. So an FBI profiler conducted the prison interview, and the profile was convinced he did believe Curtis was telling the truth. An FBI investigator investigated him for 18 months, and authorities found no way to disprove his story, though they never found her body or any information. Who are you? I don't know.
I am me.
No,
And
not
you
you.
are you.
You are the most you of you? Yes.
I said, I am me, and you are you, and we are the most of each other.
Yes. So, Amber's mother, Kim, took her eyes off her kid for less than 3 minutes. And I know everybody says, yeah, but that's all it takes. Listen, you can literally bend down to tie your shoe, which is less than a minute, and look up and something happened.
Yep.
I've been guilty of doing that.
It takes a millisecond.
It takes
literally.
a millisecond. I remember it was me, Emily, you, Josh, and we were working in the backyard, and Raven had tripped and fell. Like she had tripped and fell. Thank you.
Yeah.
Josh was tending the fire pit. You and me, we were doing something. I was tying my shoe. You were checking your phone. Emily was chastising Alan for something. I think he had done something. And I look over.
We were setting up for the wedding, yeah.
Yeah. And I look over and Raven's just sobbing. And I was like, oh my God, what happened? She fell. Like,
yeah, split second.
Just.
But it scared her because she thought she was going to, like, seriously hurt herself or something.
Right. And it's one of those things where we took our eyes 1 second. Less than 1 second. And I was like, oh my God. Which is why all of my children will have leashes. I've decided. She had last seen her daughter skipping rope in the front yard. She had taken her eyes off of her for less than 3 minutes, she said. Amber was excited, waiting for the neighbors to arrive home with their new baby. They had just left the hospital, so they were going to be home any minute. After grabbing Amber, he hopped right back on the freeway and headed south before authorities even knew she was gone.
Oh, man.
Where they lived, I looked it up on the map, it's maybe 5 minutes from the interstate. It's not far at all.
It was literally grab and go.
Grab and go. And, which is a horrible quick mark, by the way. He claimed he suffocated her in a hotel when he got to Tucson. And it was a day after he had abducted her. He then stuffed the body in the trunk and headed south to the U.S.-Mexico border. But the Mexican police turned him back because he was driving impaired. They didn't search his vehicle. Think about that.
Okay, great that they turned him away.
If Border Patrol was the same now as it was back then, they would have searched the vehicle, detained him, and seen her body in the trunk, and none of the other victims would have happened.
Right.
But, as it is, we're not going to discuss that.
Because that's a Pandora's box.
Yeah. So he eventually left Amber in an isolated stretch of desert beside Highway 10 near Benson, Arizona, where his aunt actually owned a ranch. So just a few minutes down the road from the ranch. He said he left Amber's body exposed so animals would scatter the remains, which is a tactic he repeated in later crimes. Police searched for Amber's remains, but never found them. Authorities, I need to remove that. Curtis described Amber as his first victim. He seemed puffed up a bit to be speaking to the FBI. He told the agents that he learned from mistakes he made with Amber that refined his child abduction techniques. The abduction devastated the family and forever changed Pinole Police Department, which ended up naming a park after Amber in 2006. So the looky-loos and the crackpots came out of the woodworks and called, often over the years, reporting that Amber was fed to pigs or pushed out of a plane. I hate people.
Me too.
So Amber's father, Floyd Bernie Schwartz, was a parole officer, and he died during a shootout in 1980 with another suspect. After Amber vanished, Schwartz, Bernie, formed the Amber Foundation and went on to become an activist for missing children, as did his wife. Hold on. I was like, what the fuck is that sound? It's his controller.
Is it buzzing in there?
No, it's like chime bells.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, while authorities never found her body or physical evidence linking Curtis to the disappearance of Amber, they concluded that the information that he did offer during the limited interviews that he granted with law enforcement and FBI, and further circumstantial evidence gathered since then, pointed him beyond reasonable doubt, they said, which is good.
Oh, yes.
So, detectives established, for example, that freshly paroled Curtis hung around Pinole at the time of the disappearance. So he was like there, you know? Pinole police on Monday, August 27th, formally ended their 21-year search for Amber. The reason I did the story is because it ended this year.
Holy shit.
So, not this year, but 2024.
Right.
The fact that we can't have her body means it's not as final as I'd like it to be, said her mother. Kim also said, I hang on to the fact that I had her for 7 years, at least, and I sobbed when I was writing this. I just have to learn to be thankful for what time I did have.
That's sad.
That is so sad. I was like, good God.
Why you gotta pick the sad ones?
Listen, I tried, okay? I tried not to. That didn't work out so well.
Not so much. You tried your best, though.
I did. I tried so hard. Tried so hard. Got so far. And in the end, it doesn't even matter. Okay. Trying to make a reprieve, you know?
Right. As we do.
Between 88 and 89, his sixth victim had become missing. She was allegedly native, a Navajo Indian woman who was approximately between the ages of 23 and 24 years old. From the notes that I didn't put in here, she did have long hair, and she was noted wearing a jean jacket when she was missing. Sorry, I'm doing 3 things at the same time, as I mostly do whenever I get on these episodes.
This is valid.
Oh, you sent them. I'm an idiot.
On another note, the 2 grown-ass fucking men who had taken that chainsaw to the Sycamore Gap tree over in the UK.
Yeah.
They were found guilty.
Yeah, buddy. Hell yeah.
Sorry, just wanted to get that out there. That
no, good.
They were found guilty.
Yes, good. As they should.
Because that was a fucking iconic tree that had been there since Roman times.
I know.
They fucking chopped it down for no reason.
Well, you know who planted it, right?
Not off the top of my head.
If I remember the stories correctly from what Robert told me. I think it was Robert. Or Jen. I don't remember who. I have so many friends out in England.
But it was along Hadrian's Wall.
Yeah. It's an old ass fucking tree. You don't touch the old ass fucking trees. They're cursed. You don't do it. You just don't do it. especially out in England. That's how you get witches.
That tree had withstand so much. And they just cut it down. Anyways,
Anyways,
I could go off on that.
so the sixth victim, the native victim, he claimed he picked her up near 5th or 6th Street in Benicia. Benicia is south. So she was either coming out of a bar in 88 or 89. He said, quote, I forgot. He said he had killed her in a desert somewhere near Benson, Arizona, again on his way to his aunt's house. In 97, his 7th victim, early in 97, was taken. Victim number 7 was in her early 20s. She was a POC, half black, half Hispanic female, who Curtis described going by the name of Rosie. Curtis alleged that he met her at the Bears Bar, which was described as being frequented by POC, mainly Hispanics. This bar was located under Highway 87 in San Jose, California. That bar was there forever, by the way. It was near a bowling alley. That bowling alley has since been demolished, but Curtis claimed this victim was having noticeable junkie tracks on her arms, and he killed her by strangulation. He allegedly disposed of her body less than 5 miles off of Ben Lomond turnoff near Santa Cruz. I've been near that turnoff. That area is super creepy. You don't drive that area at night. You just don't. Approximately 300 yards past a water retention pond behind a locked gate. I think
it wouldn't have been something easy to get to.
No, it wouldn't have. Honey, do you remember that? When we used to drive to the pizza place out in Los Gatos? And we would go to Santa Cruz? How I would take that back road and we would have to go past that retention pond? Remember where the stop sign was? That's where this was. So in order to get to one of our friends' house who lived right past that area, you have to go to the first stop sign was at the pond. You make a right over the bridge. Second stop sign. And then the third stop sign up the road. And then you hang a left and then you hang a right and we're at our friend's house. That is where the body was. You have to go past people's houses into these tiny little communities. And it's great driving out there because it's so quiet. But it's bad driving at night because it's so quiet.
It's so nice because it's quiet, but at the same time, it's so horrible because it's so quiet.
Right. So during this incident, Curtis stated that he had been driving a black Toyota truck from his quote-unquote parts company that he worked for. He claimed this occurred around February or March of 97. So December of 99, Curtis claimed his 8th victim and nearly final victim. Victim 8 was Xiana Fairchild, who disappeared on December 9th, 1999. I remember this and the articles. My grandma would not let me leave her house to go walking to you remember, you would walk to the supermarket or the corner mart by yourself. It didn't matter how far away you were going. Your parents were like, yeah, you're old enough.
Yeah.
No, my grandma stopped. She was like, that ain't happening. She would later be known as the 8th and almost last victim of this horrendous monster and boogeyman. Nobody knew it at the time, but Xiana had already been murdered by Curtis, who at this time was now a local taxi driver. When they started searching for her, she was already dead. So...
It only started earlier.
Right. Well, she was 7 years old and was confirmed dead after more than a year of hope for her safe return. Volunteers and authorities were hoping with resolve and seeking justice for the person responsible for this crime. Missing since 1999, in August of 2000, the police in Vallejo, who had been looking for her for 8 months, it wasn't confirmed until March 29th of this year, when Santa Clara County Sheriff's Department said in a news conference that she was in fact deceased.
I absolutely hate that.
Her skull was found in early 2001 in an unincorporated area of Los Gatos in Santa Clara County. Los Gatos is what we called Rich Bitchville. All the rich people lived in Los Gatos. Like their Barnes and Noble was really nice. It was third story. They have a basement, they have a first floor and a second floor, and it was like limestone and marble. It was nice, you know? And they had Les Boulangerie.
Ooh.
There were so many Porsches in that area, it's not even funny. So, the DNA test results on a child's skull that was found in the Santa Cruz Mountains were confirmed to be the bone fragments that belonged to Xiana. The medical examiner reported that she died of homicidal violence. Authorities will try to determine who killed the girl and why. But, of course, it was confirmed later that it was this dude. Volunteers searched tirelessly for Xiana over the years and wanted someone to be held accountable. So Deanna May, a volunteer searcher who was interviewed by the Daily Journal, she said, "I really want her home alive. Until I know why, it's not going to sink in, and I still feel like she's missing and she might be alive."
Unfortunately,
Not the case. Right. Vallejo police said the discovery creates no new suspects, but among those under suspicion of her disappearance are her mother, Antoinette Robinson, and her boyfriend, Robert Turnbow. So I went down a little rabbit hole of him. He initially told police he had left her at the bus stop. Just left her there. But later changed the story to say she walked home alone to catch the bus.
I sent you a link to worry about.
Thank you. I see that. It's very pretty. Vallejo police never labeled Turnbow a suspect, but did say he had been under, quote, a cloud of suspicion because of his conflicting stories. From that day, Xiana disappeared. We got conflicting stories from her mother's boyfriend, and a few other people.
Nobody knows what each other's doing.
So Xiana's kidnapping case revived interest recently with a man in jail for allegedly abducting one girl, began telling reporters he was responsible for Xiana's disappearance. Curtis told her great aunt that she was still alive and he knew her whereabouts. Listen here, hooker. It's not how this works.
It's not how any of this works.
So, you just said that at the same time as Josh in the other room. So, the latest the latest findings of her skeletal remains contradict the killer's accounts. The guy that was interviewed, not Curtis, but a different guy. He didn't have the right whereabouts where he left the body or anything like that. Ooh. It's only $20. Sorry, I clicked on it. Hey.
That's the set I currently have on.
That's wireless.
I mean, I have to use the audio jack or the aux to plug into the soundboard. But you can connect them to your phone and wear them around the house. They have noise canceling. I've worn them on the mower before.
I mean, I just want one that I can hook up to the soundboard that has, I used to have one, and of course I don't have it because, the fire, but it hooked up to my old phone and it had a little jack thing and it was wireless. So it hooked up here at a little jack thing that went here and it was wireless and it had a little thing that I hooked into the jack on my old phone. But yeah, like that, but it was wireless.
Oh, nice.
So it was that little jack bit. It hooked in there, but
it was just Bluetooth.
It was just Bluetooth. And I was like, that is the coolest thing ever. And I kind of want to find another one. But of course, Radio Shack doesn't exist anymore. Thanks, Dick.
That's valid.
So, getting back to the story, of which, unfortunately...
we keep veering off topic.
Because, we do that. So, at this stage in the investigation, there's no evidence to links to Curtis to the case. Said Brian Beck, who is the captain of the Santa Clara County Police Department. I don't know him, but I know people from there. We're all aware of his notoriety and his discussions with the press, but that does constitute evidence. August 2000, he had taken his final victim. This is where we're getting to the exciting part, guys. You're going to wait with bated breath for what's going to happen next. Midsi Sanchez, who, after reading everything she went through, we're going to call her the hero to our story. She is the Black Widow, guys. She is amazing. Victim number 9, our final victim, had just turned 8 years old. So Midsi was walking home from Vallejo's Highland Elementary when she was taken on August 12th, 2000. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. I hate allergy season.
I know.
So she had just started walking home from school. She said in an interview with KTVU, which is a local news station. I was excited that day, she said. It was the day of my birthday party. I wanted to help my mom get everything set up. I was about 2 blocks from home when I noticed a guy sitting in his car. As I got closer, I noticed he was watching me through his rearview mirror, and my gut told me to cross the street. Excited for her birthday, Midsi kept walking. As she got closer to Anderson, Curtis got out and asked her to help him grab a roll of duct tape out of his car.
That's when you start running, guys.
If a man asks you for help, he don't need no fucking help unless he is your grandpa or your father. If he is not either of those, do not help them.
Yeah.
As soon as
they're a literal child.
Or they are a little
boy
child,
and not
yes.
a man.
Yes. So as soon as I reached in to grab the duct tape from the floorboard, he leaned over me from behind. He put his hand over my mouth. I tried to scream, but no one could hear me. She was just literal feet away from her house.
That's so sad.
He forced her into his car, and within seconds, Curtis and Midsi were driving away. He drove past Midsi's house, which her mom was inside getting ready for her birthday party, and he could see her. She could see her mom, and so could he. She had said in a few interviews, I'm watching my house. I just remember thinking, I want to be home so bad. Oh my God, are you okay?
I hit the thing. Sorry. Again. Sorry. It's one of those days, guys. My bad.
You're fine. You're fine. Me with my allergies and you with your chair. You're fine.
Right.
So I wanted to reach out to Midsi to maybe get a sound clip or something. However, she stated in her last interview earlier this year, she was not doing any more interviews.
I don't blame her.
I don't either. It's been quite a few years.
She just wants to get past everything.
I do.
As possible.
Yeah. And I don't blame her at all. I do agree with her on not wanting to do any more interviews. It's totally fine. So guys, like I've said this before, I've reached out to people. They don't get back to me and it's totally fine. It probably gets to their spam box. But like, if I see in an interview, I don't want to do more interviews. I don't reach out. I do talk to the police stations, but that's about it. So right. Curtis drove Midsi across the freeway to a shopping center parking lot where he parked in a corner and pulled out a set of clothes. He made me change my clothes, and he pulls out alcohol and poured it into a shot glass and forced me to drink it. That night, Midsi said she was forced to sleep in a parking lot of a truck stop off of Highway 80 on the outskirts of Vallejo. She didn't sleep.
Of course not.
You want to know why?
She was terrified what was going to happen.
Well, yeah, but the other girls slept. Put two and two together.
Probably because he had gotten the other girls so drunk they passed out.
Probably, yeah. Well,
and she probably refused.
Right. So we're not going to talk in much detail about what he did to her because it's graphic.
Gruesome.
Yeah. So he did abuse her and pulled out a padlock and chain, like a metal chain. Okay.
Okay.
She said it was one of those long silver link chains, and he tied it really tight around my leg and locked it up with a padlock. I thought, this is it. I'm never going to see my family again. For the next day and a half, Curtis drove around the Bay Area with Midsi chained by the leg in the floorboards of his car. During that time, word spread quickly that another girl from Vallejo was missing. The police started searching frantically, and after 2 days after the kidnapping, Curtis stated that he, quote, made a mistake. Ready to know what he said?
Sure.
Fuck him. He made the best move he ever could have for her survival, and this is why I call her a hero. She was chained up in his 1984 Oldsmobile Forenza, which, first of all, ew. Second of all, fuck you. So he reportedly left her alone when he went into his former San Jose workplace. San Jose. Our hometown. It was at this moment Midsi decided to escape.
Good for her.
She looked around to see for anything that she could find to get her out of the lock and chain. He left his key ring behind on his seat and she grabbed it. I picked the smallest one and it happened to be the one that I unlocked the padlock I had chained around my leg. She made a courageous escape through his car window. Didn't even open the door, just climbed out the window. I heard him yell at me and he said, "Hey, get back here." I looked back at him and I just shook my head like, "No, I am not going back." Curtis ran after her as she ran into oncoming traffic.
She's like, if I get hit, at least somebody's gonna stop.
She yelled her name and the truck driver that was in front of her. She stated she had been kidnapped. The trucker saw her in a panic state and pulled over to rescue her. She decided not to stop running and jumped into his window and told him to drive. As she jumped into the delivery truck, Curtis fled, but the driver radioed police on his CB with the license plate number and he was captured a short time later. So I just got to say, hats off to her.
Right.
Hats off. So after a few hours that she had finally escaped into freedom, Curtis Dean Anderson was in custody and Midsi was on her way home to her family. As Midsi's father carried her in.
A lot of therapy.
Oh yeah, we get to that. As Midsi's father, I'm sorry, hold on. I gotta.
Allergies. Things of the devils.
How's that for timing?
Right.
I was like, I guess they don't want cinnamon rolls. We made a whole thing of it.
I would take some if I was there.
I know. So,
oh well.
As Midsi's father carried her in, as dozens of people celebrated her return, the lieutenant police said it's surreal to think that a child that young was able to free herself and get away. It's just stuff that's stranger than fiction. Everyone was there to show their love and support, said Midsi, but I was still not okay. So for the next few years, Midsi was in therapy, like a lot.
Right.
And when she turned 12, that's when things started kind of happening worse for her. I was loaded.
Man.
Huh?
I said, oh, man.
I was loaded, drunk, doing God knows what, she said. In 2009, Midsi was 16, and she was severely injured as a passenger in a drunk driving accident. Once again, she was fighting for her life, but this time things would be changed drastically different. Coming home from the hospital, I found out I was pregnant with my daughter, who is now 6. That was life-changing for me, and that was a wake-up call. So, in an interview that she gave with the Marin Independent Journal, Midsi said that she had suppressed memories of Curtis's trial and conviction. Understandably so.
Right.
which his conviction was helped by her nervous testimony, and even has regrets that he died 5 years ago in prison, wishing she could confront him now about her abduction when she was a child.
But at the same time, it's probably a good thing.
Right. So, in recent years, she's actually hated the fact that people have given her interview requests.
Right.
But recently, she has given an interview on 2020 and the show I Survived, which I did watch her episode. If you guys haven't seen it, it's on Hulu, Peacock, and I think Netflix.
Okay.
So she's also traveled to several U.S. cities with Mark Class of the Class Kids Foundation. I've donated to them several times over. Anytime I've had a total car or a friend's had a car that they can't sell, we donate it to them. They take the parts and sell them.
Right. Because
Well,
anything that's salvageable, they can sell.
right. And they use that money to, if the car is salvageable, they do, fix up the car and donate it to families.
Right.
So that way they have a car that they can use. But it's amazing. But they have launched a new smartphone app, which we're going to talk about a little, called Polly's Guardian Angel. And it's to help this find missing children. So
I like that.
we're going to cover Polly's story later because that definitely hits close to home for me.
And it's also an episode all by itself.
Exactly. Like, she deserves a whole episode. But let's talk about the app. So Mark Class and Midsi Sanchez have recently made personal appearances in several cities to launch this new smartphone app. Midsi went to Pensacola, Florida with me for the launch of Polly's Guardian Angel, a smartphone user-based app.
Okay.
It's a complete life changer. It's changed everything. Polly's tragedy gave me a new focus and different meaning to my life. It's why I started the foundation and thought I'd give back a heartbeat. Polly's Guardian Angel app is pre-populated with information that's distributed to anyone who has the app in a 5-mile radius where a child has gone missing.
Oh, that's cool.
There are user prompts for what to do if the child has been located in 5 minutes or in 30 minutes. If I talk for too long,
the drainage.
Yeah. To make sure you're doing all the right things. There is no doubt in my mind this will save lives at some point. Launched about 6 weeks ago, this app has hit some user glitches, which are expected to be ironed out within the first month.
Right.
So the Polly's Guardian Angel app, officials say it's the first parent-initiated missing child alert system.
Okay.
Technology lets parents deploy GPS and social networking to sound the alarm and ask for help from nearby app users. So it's a real-time
alert.
Yeah. It also gives parents access to the Polly call center, which connects parents to professionals who've been trained to make sure that everything possible is being done to reconnect them with their child.
I love that.
Parents are offered step-by-step guidance derived from years of experience from searches around the U.S. It is downloadable from iTunes, Android's Play Store, and Polly's Guardian Angel purchases help fund the Florida-based Polly call center and future enhancements of the app.
Cool.
I love that.
Me too.
So, as Midsi did survive, it's even more remarkable because she had been abducted by the same man who later confessed to abducting Xiana. After escaping her abductor and reuniting with her family, Midsi later returned to school, joined the wrestling team.
Take that little bit out.
Don't mind me, I'm just dying over here.
Please don't.
I'm trying not to.
Okay, good.
Played soccer and practiced boxing and karate. Even though she didn't graduate from high school, Midsi said she's working on getting her high school equivalent certificate, or GED.
Mm-hmm.
Counseling received after her escape helped Midsi find the strength to testify against her abductor in court.
Good.
I remember it in bits and pieces, she said in the interview to the Marin Journal. I remember having to point him out. I remember my aunt gave me a small angel figure to hold, and I had a teddy bear I kept with me. I was very scared, nervous, and I didn't want to deal with it. Midsi expresses some regret she will never be able to confront him, but one person did. You remember Xiana's aunt?
Right.
Great aunt Stephanie Kailea Kulu befriended Midsi short after her escape. She also participated in post-search efforts for Xiana, not knowing her fellow abductee was already dead.
Right.
Stephanie said Midsi's strong character was evident even immediately after her escape. I'm glad she had the ability to escape. Xiana didn't have that in her character. Despite her innate strength and intelligence, she needed to escape. Midsi's experience made her different than the others because Mark and Stephanie, Mark Glass and Stephanie, Xiana's great aunt, stated that she was a lot stronger than all the other girls. Midsi agrees. As a mother herself, she said she's concerned about being overprotective, but that she and her daughter's father are determined to arm the 2-year-old with as much information as possible to keep her safe. Midsi says she has no plans to let her daughter walk alone to school.
I don't blame her.
I don't either. She also asked that neither her daughter's name nor photo be used in any article or interview.
Also understandable.
I didn't let her go to a babysitter until she could talk. I don't like people looking at her or getting too close. I'll stare them down. Midsi acknowledges that at 8, she may not have really dealt with the psychological intake of what happened to her. Instead, she withdrew from her family, got into fights, and started substance abuse.
Right. She did what she could to block it out.
The behavior escalated in middle school when she came close to, quote, giving up, entertaining thoughts that it might be better if she died. Look, I've been there. I think everybody's been there at least at one point.
Right.
And this is a safe space. Like, if you guys need somebody to talk to and you don't
Please read out.
Yeah, absolutely. The therapy centers and 988 is great. Like, they have a texting app called the White Flag app. I love this app because even when you don't have spoons, there's somebody out there who does.
Right.
And they're able to help you. And I mean, like, when it first came out, it was in the beginning of COVID and nobody had heard about this app. And I was like, I have. It is fabulous. So if you guys don't have it, download it. It's great. In the last few years, Midsi had never given Curtis much of a second thought, believing she was over the trauma. She said she was surprised. Yeah. She said she was surprised when nightmares began in 2009 after she learned she was pregnant while in the hospital. I felt safe after I got home in August of 2000, but like, no one was going to hurt me again. But it just started. I started having nightmares about Curtis when I was pregnant. It all came back. I think about it all the time now. I never did before. I dreamed he was trying to take my baby from me. I could just see his face.
It's terrifying.
Reluctant until recent months to tell her story, Midsi said it's become easier. I regretted the show I survived at first because I told some things in it I'd never told anyone except court. I still haven't told anyone. I still haven't told everything, but this is more than I have before. I have no regrets now. People have been calling and contacting me on social media, and they're so supportive, and they thank me for sharing my story. And I feel like people looked to me to confide in, so I regret slowly and went away. I'm taking out a lot of breaks. I have to skip.
Oh, yeah, I figured.
Offering her support to blah, 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 blah. I'm fine. Offering her support to families of missing children has become therapeutic, a calling that evolving in 2009 when 8-year-old Sandra Cantu of Tracy went missing. When Sandra was later found dead, Midsi said she took it hard. When I meet with the families, it's a sign of relief when they see me. My meeting with missing Morgan Hill teenager Sierra Lamar's mom hugged me and thanked me for restoring her faith. I remember that story, so if you guys want us to cover that, we'll do it too. That was big. I met a police officer there who told me his daughter went missing 8 years after me and they're still looking. Sierra had been missing since March of 2018. Antolin Garcia Torres, 21, who was arrested in May in connection with her disappearance. So at this point, I'm going to ask for 1 minute of silence.
Okay.
Take a moment with our team as we pay tribute to the victims of this ruthless assailant. How you doing?
I'm here.
Spoons what?
It's a lot.
It is a lot, but I do have to say we're at the end.
Okay.
We get some good stuff right now.
Oh, good.
So Curtis was finally caught in 2005, right after Midsi was found, right?
Yes.
He pled guilty to murder, kidnapping, and SA charges. Curtis then granted the FBI a request for an interview, November 5th of 2007. Hold on. While he was serving a 301-year sentence at California State Maximum Prison. During that 5-hour session, he described numerous abductions and essays, both before and after Amber, and also confessed to several more. If there is no pursuit of the death penalty, he stated, I will freely admit my role in being responsible for the death of Amber Schwartz. Parker would not...
That's not how that works.
Right. Parker would not discuss any other investigations spawned by Curtis's disclosures. There are quite a lot open, but we can't access. During the interview, Curtis also confessed to 2 more murders in Mexico, but didn't provide any information about those victims at all. Let me tell you, the trees are fucking.
Right.
A lot. I had to get a cough drop from Josh.
Ah.
So, regarding his other victims, Curtis's other victims, according to Vallejo Times-Herald, the FBI is asking the public for help in identifying more possible victims of Curtis. They hoped for more interviews and more specific details, but unfortunately, he already was frail in 2007 when this interview happened. He died December 9th of 2007, which good.
Yes.
I'm upset because nobody got justice, but obviously he's not talking beyond the grave. That doesn't mean to contact him with a medium or a Ouija board. I am not.
Guys, just don't.
I'm not your mother. We're not your mothers. I mean, we are mother. We do serve. Yes. But please don't. That being said, if the public has any information at all regarding the identity of any of the victims that we discussed today, please call the FBI San Francisco tip line at 1-800-CALL-FBI or 1-800-225-5324. All calls are confidential and tips can be left anonymously. And that is the horrible, monstrous story of Curtis Dean Anderson. Dickwad. That is the last note that
Very
I
much
have on
a dickwad.
Yeah, huge dickwad. Giant. Ginormous. Terrible. I hated researching this topic.
I can imagine so.
I mean, if I learned anything about living the places that I did, it's you got to be careful with who you keep close.
Truly does.
I mean, did I want to do a different story? Yes, but I needed to get the story out there so it was done.
Right.
Because the worst ones that I have researched, this is one of the worst ones. I hate cases involving kids. I absolutely hate it. Makes me upset.
I know. Makes me upset too.
But that's all we have to talk about.
Oh, that's good.
We have nothing else to discuss. But what we can do is for next time, why don't we talk about a state?
Okay.
We still have states to discuss, so let's
still have states to discuss. We have a lot of states to discuss.
Let's take a reprieve for the next few episodes and talk about some spooky states.
Sounds good to me.
I think our listeners will enjoy that. Yes. We've already done, let's see here. Hold on. Let me go to my folder on my computer because it tells me what states we've already done. And we're still
not enough of them.
Not enough of them, obviously. Let's see here. We've talked about some big time people. Lake Lanier, Georgia. We've talked about Georgia. What else? Colorado, Oregon, Hawaii, Washington, Nevada, California, Louisiana, Alaska, Kansas, New Zealand. We talked about the New Zealand cases, which we could always talk about more New Zealand cases. But
True.
That's cryptids. Let's see here. Texas.
It'll be a loaded one.
I already did that one.
Oh yeah, we already did Texas. I was like, oh shit, that's a multi-parter.
Yeah, October of last year. That one was a 2-hour long episode, I think.
Oh yes.
Let's see here. We talked about Germany. Let's see here. The Lost People of Roanoke. I like that episode.
That was a good episode.
Let's see here. Doo-ba-doo. Your birthday episode. You talked about Eileen Warnos. I remember that one.
Yeah.
I love the title for Alabama. Sweet Home Y'all-Alabama. And then Florida man does whatever a Florida man does.
Which is true.
Yes. And then let's see here. We talked about Meg's episode, the Old Line State. We talked about, I think that was Maryland. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We talked about crab cakes. I went a little too hard on crab cakes, let me tell you. We've already done Nessie. So if you guys want different cryptids, let us know. Also, if you guys wanted to send us any messages, it's tpw3mpodcast@gmail.com. We have no messages. Checking my emails. We got nothing. Nope, just a happy birthday from Spotify creators. That's the only thing we got on that one. But
Feeling the love, guys. Feeling the love.
Man, you guys suck. I mean, we could always go back to the beginning and read the spooky stories we talked about originally.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? Why don't we do that next episode?
Before we yoinked them out of existence?
Yes, before we deleted them all. I think that actually sounds like a good idea. Let's do that for the next episode.
Sounds good to me.
All right. As always, guys, stay feral.
Bite the hand.
And we'll see you all next time. Okay,
bye! Okay, bye!
Next time on the Pandemonium Witches.
Not only did they take her out of the original box and put her in a different box, they've been taking her out of that box and showing her around.
You don't do that. You don't fuck around, because that's how you find out. Death looks in many forms. Death is non-binary, and it's not like, oh my god, you're being woke. No, death has no actual sex. I mean, I don't know if death has sex. I haven't asked, but
that's a really personal question.
And we have like an exchange, 10, 15 minutes maybe, and there's cameras in there. They can see me talking. You can literally see it on the film. I'm talking to somebody, and when he turns,
there's nobody there.
No, there's literally somebody there. You can see it on the camera. He turned and he just faded. I can see it in person that he's literally still there. On the camera, you just see him fade from view.